Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters viewers. This is a special Christmas episode. Merry Christmas.
Merry
And
Christmas.
and we're both dressed up in our holiday
Yeah,
uh
snowman.
yeah. And so we are going to be talking about one of our favorite movies of all time, favorite Christmas movies, and it's The Bishop's Wife
Yep.
from, oh, I forgot, 1947, I think. Yes,
47. Yeah.
1947. And this movie has a very interesting history. It started off with a different director. It stars Cary Grant, David
David
Niven,
Niven.
and the original wife was Teresa Wright.
Right.
But when Samuel Goldwyn, who was the producer, saw the dailies, he did not like it. He didn't think it was good because, for one thing, Cary Grant played the bishop and David Niven was playing the angel. And that was one of the things that he didn't like. And so they fired that director. He
Yeah.
called in Harry Koster, and when they were going, Harry Koster and Samuel Goldwyn were going over the footage that had already been shot.
Right.
I think it was Harry Koster said, these two guys are miscast. We need to switch them.
Yep.
Now, David Niven believed that Cary Grant really wanted to play the angel, and he was the impetus for that. But in the trivia it says that no, it was Samuel
Right.
Goldwyn and Henry Koster who wanted to switch them.
And
And that
and Cary Grant, they think maybe was upset for a while, but then he really started to like it.
yeah,
Yeah.
because he it was a different, the playing the bishop would have been a totally different role for him
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
than he had ever played before.
Right.
So here is the description of the movie. A debonair angel comes to earth to help an Episcopalian bishop and his wife in their quest to raise money for the new cathedral. It says new church here, but it's a cathedral.
It's a cathedral.
And
Yeah, they call it cathedral.
but that's not exactly what I think the whole story is about. This is a story
No.
about um David Niven's character, the bishop. What's his first name?
Henry.
Yes, Henry. Henry has been promoted to bishop and he's really young for that position.
Right.
And he's been promoted basically on the endorsement of Gladys Cooper's character, Mrs. Hamilton.
And she's
Who
very wealthy.
she's the wealthiest woman in the city. Oh,
Yep.
we don't know where this is. It's probably
No,
someplace.
it's a nondescript. Yeah.
It's in the east someplace because it's snowing and
Lots of snow. Yeah.
but also we just assume that it's in the east. So she probably chose him because she thought she could manipulate him to do
I
what
think
she
so.
wanted. What she wanted.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, but of course that's all implied. It's all implied. So
Yes.
but Teresa Wright, but they decided to totally revamp the production. They'd already spent almost $1 million on it. So they rebuilt sets, got new costumes, and a lot of the people who were already cast in it had to go because they had commitments in other movies.
Yep.
Teresa Wright was pregnant. She couldn't do it. So they went and got I think Loretta Young worked at RKO. So they went to get Loretta, they borrowed Loretta Young
Barter.
from RKO. And oh, I'm so glad they did, because even though I love Teresa
Oh,
Wright,
I love
there's
Chris Wright. Yeah.
something about uh
Loretta.
her Loretta
Yeah.
Young's face and body. She's just luminous.
Well,
She's
and her voice, the way she uses her
oh
softness of her voice.
yes, yes. So in this case, he is like a fish out of water.
Yes, he
Henry
is.
is a fish out of water, and he doesn't really know how to get the money for the cathedral.
No, well, and he's so uptight and intense. He's not at ease. He's just
Right,
I've got to do it. I've got to do it. It's like it consumes him
right.
to raise this money.
Which is cutting him off from his wife and his daughter.
His daughter, yeah.
And so he prays. He's in his office. There's the picture of the cathedral that they're envisioning building.
Yeah.
and he prays for guidance. He thinks he's praying for help getting the money for the cathedral.
Right.
And all of a sudden, an angel shows up in his
Yep.
office.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And he's like, can I help you? And I love it. Cary Grant goes, well, no, really. The question is, what can I do for you?
What can I do for you? Well, and it's really interesting because what they do at the beginning of the film is you're watching Cary Grant walk throughout the city. He
Yes,
saves a baby buggy from
a
going out in the
baby
street,
from,
being hit by
right.
the cars. And
Right.
he's watching the children looking at the displays in the windows at Christmas. And he walks a blind man across the street and all the
Mm-hmm.
cars stop so that he can cross. And
And you don't know who he is.
you don't have any idea who he is. Right. And then he shows up.
And then he shows up in the bishop's office.
Yep.
Right. And we also get to see oh, Julia.
Julia.
Loretta Young's name in the character's name is Julia. So we see Julia out shopping. She's buying a Christmas tree. She runs into the professor, played by Monty Woolley.
Who we
Oh
all
my
love.
gosh, Monty Woolley's so great. And it's their old neighborhood
Yep.
where she and
Where he was the pastor at the church there. Yeah, her
right
husband.
in this small neighborhood. Somebody said they thought it was one of the trivia things said they thought it was in New York City.
And it could be.
Um,
Yeah.
so, but I'm not sure because Mrs. Hamilton seems to run everything in the where they where they're
It
living.
feels like it could be a smaller Eastern community for
Like
sure.
maybe in Connecticut or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she's out shopping and she sees this hat in one of the stores, and she's just admiring it. And Cary Grant's following her around.
Yeah. He's watching her.
And then when he hears her, the exchange between her and the professor,
Yeah.
and Julia leaves, and then he runs into the professor, and because he wants to find out more, I think,
Right.
or he's just trying
But I
to,
think he's also doing double duty.
yeah, because the professor needs him too.
He's assisting the professor as well.
Yes, and so that's really great that we get to see that whole
Yeah,
setup.
this previous interaction and setup, right? Well, and it's so cute because she's telling the professor how Henry is struggling, and he's upset because he's not able to communicate with what's the wealthy woman's name?
Well, Agnes is her
Agnes, yeah.
name, but Mrs. Hamilton.
Mrs. Hamilton. So the professor's like, well, I don't have a lot of money, but I have this coin. And it maybe hasn't brought me a lot of good luck, but I carry it around for good luck. Give it to Henry, and maybe it could be of assistance.
Yes, I love
And
that.
she is so gracious for it. She's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Because they're very close. You can tell that even though he says he's not a religious man, and we don't know how they became friends with him,
right,
but they're really good friends with him, and you can tell.
right, yeah.
So, and then she goes to pick out this Christmas tree. They go into the shop. She asks the merchant to, send the tree to the house on Christmas Eve.
Right.
And then the professor is picking out his tree.
Oh,
That was
that's
a
so
cute
funny.
exchange. It's such a cute exchange how he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm only going to pay 10 cents a branch. And it's just this little short tree.
Yeah.
But you can feel, because the script is so good and the acting is so good, how much he really cares for Julia.
Yes.
And for Henry and for their
Right.
daughter Debbie.
Right.
And he wishes her well. And as she walks away, you can see the sadness, like, what has happened?
Yeah.
He can feel the change.
Yes.
So then Dudley runs into him.
Right.
Oh,
Dudley is the angel.
we knew each other at the university. What? And
Yeah.
what?
In Vienna.
In Vienna. In Vienna. And he's like, I didn't know you in Vienna. And of course, he makes up this story that goes, oh, okay. Okay, maybe I do know you. And it's just quite hysterical.
And I love when Dudley walks away and the police officer's there and he goes,
Yeah.
Pat, do you know who that is?
Who that man is? And he's like, no. I don't know who he
Police
is.
officers know, but I thought you were talking to him. I thought you knew him.
Interesting.
Oh,
So yeah, it's and then of course, he shows up, to Henry and he tells Henry he's an angel. And Henry's like, "No, you're not. Angels
right.
don't look like you." He's like, "Yeah, they don't look like you." And he's like, "Well, how do you know what they look like?" It's just so funny, the conversation that they have. But it's so sweet too because, he's got his secretary and then he's got the housekeepers and they just look at Dudley like, you know, and I think that's probably part of the reason why, not that David Niven is not an attractive man,
Right.
but everybody knows Cary Grant's the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the man that all of these women would look at him so admiringly.
Yes.
And they're just attracted to him and they want to do nice things for him and they want to help him out. And
Right.
and he's
That
not
might
asking for it. It's just his energy.
That's right. And that might be part of what Samuel Goldwyn
Right.
and
I think
and
so.
Coster
Right.
Henry Coster didn't like about the original script.
Right. It's yeah. Right.
Yeah, something was wrong with the script. That was
I think so
part of
too.
why they stopped production. So they brought in new script writers, and
Right.
and it took a while for them to get
It did.
ready to
Get it
refilm.
all
For
ironed out. Yeah.
Right. And fortunately, both Cary Grant and David Niven were still available.
Right.
But I'm not sure that David Niven was happy about the switch either, because I think he wanted to, he was hoping it would propel him into being leading man status. Now, I always thought that he already was leading man,
I always
so.
saw him that way too. The story of, like you said, when they were beginning to refilm this,
Mhm.
there was a Hollywood party that they were having at
Tyrone
uh,
Power's house.
Tyrone Power's house, and they were playing a game of hide and go seek. And David Niven's wife opened up a door because it was dark and not
Yeah.
realizing the
She
cellar
thought.
door, and
Mhm.
she tumbled down the stairs and died.
Yeah.
So all of this grief is with him while he's
What?
making this film.
I know.
And it amazes me. I think, timing is everything. I think
A
his
professional.
shortness, his short-sightedness, his short words. He's very
Tim.
snippy with his words. Like, well,
Yeah.
what do I do that for? And he's
Right.
just short. I think that suits what unfortunately happened to him in his private life.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why he wanted to play the angel so that he could feel closer to his wife who had just died. I don't know.
Yeah.
We will never know that story. But the role change was perfect.
Yeah.
It was, and of course we say, oh, I couldn't have seen David Niven playing the angel. And yes, maybe because, we've never known anything else.
Right. But
However, it makes the movie, it truly is magical.
yeah. And Barry says, well, why would David Niven want to play the angel? He ends up with the girl at
Right,
the
he ends up with
end.
the girl. He gets Julia, this beautiful woman, to be his wife.
I mean, she's already his wife, but I mean, he
Well,
reconnects
yeah,
with
but I
her.
mean, he reconnects with her and his
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
And that is, the snippets that happen in the story where it appears at first that Dudley is keeping Julia and the daughter away
Right.
from
Right.
Henry,
But
but
it's
it
Henry's choices.
but it's really Henry's choices.
Mhm.
And it's really what the consequences of those choices
Right.
are represented
Which,
through the whole dichotomy of, how he's so focused on this cathedral. He's completely lost focus and connection to his wife, to his
right.
household, to what's going on with his daughter.
Right.
It's almost like he's even forgotten that it's Christmas.
Yeah. He's
You
just,
get that impression that he just is so oblivious to what, I mean, like there's the scene where she is going to go to their previous church that he was pastor at,
mhm.
and to meet up with the pastor there and to hear the boys choir sing.
Right.
And um it's Henry doesn't make it. He ends up not making it to the meeting. And there's some little things that happen there. And, like all three of them, Dudley, Henry, and Julia, are in the taxi together. And he wants to be dropped off at Mrs. Hamilton's home. And he says, I'll meet up with you, I'll meet up with you later. But never does. He keeps saying things like that. Well, yeah, let's go have a lunch together. Never makes that either. And she and Dudley end up having this lunch together. And
Mm-hmm.
she tells
At
Dudley
Michelle's, their favorite restaurant.
where yes, and where Henry proposed to her.
Yeah. Now,
And
I
then the
think it's
gossipy ladies is fun too.
oh, that's fun. The gossipy ladies, but also the whole later when it happens that he can't make it to the church because it's like divine intervention. He sits down in this chair
Yep.
and his pants get stuck to the chair.
Now, that large window depicting St. George and the dragon.
Yes.
I should very much like that the countenance of St. George suggests my late husband.
Yes. Who do you see as the dragon?
Oh, any dragon. Now, let's get the blueprints.
Oh, Mrs. Hamilton, as we're now in such complete agreement, would you mind very much if we postpone the discussion of the details? Because Julia's waiting for me at St. Timothy's.
Oh, very well. We can go over the plans when we send for the transfer of the funds.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad we've settled our differences.
Is there anything the matter?
Well, it doesn't seem quite right, does it?
Oh, Stevens, there's something wrong about the bishop's chair.
But that needs to happen because I think it's also a time when these little mishaps happen. It causes Henry to reflect on missing his family, missing out, because, Dudley and Julia go out and do these things together. They
go skating.
They're going to and they listen to the boys choir together,
Right.
and it's beautiful. And at first, not all the boys are there, but of course, Henry with his angelic mojo, all the boys show
Dudley,
up. Absolutely, I mean Dudley, yeah, and it's just beautiful. Dudley's energy is just this.
Yes.
He doesn't need to do anything. I mean, for the most part, he just has his hands at his sides or folded in front of him, and
Right.
he's not going, or anything like
Right.
that. And I think that, when they get back home, Henry's like, well, where were you? Well, we wait, we tried to wait for you, but, and, Pastor such and such was very disappointed that you didn't show up. Well, I had things to do. And he goes, so you and Dudley went out. And so, you can see the wheels turning within Henry's mind. Like, what's going on here? What's happening?
Sometimes everything has to fall apart before you figure out.
I think so too. And I think that's what the whole point of, Dudley being the stand-in, so to speak.
Yeah.
They run into, the professor again, and he invites them over to
I
his
love
place.
that conversation.
And that whole conversation is beautiful because the professor does talk about, I have this novel, this book that I'm writing, and
it's actually a history.
It's his history. He's a history professor.
Yeah.
And so they go to his place. Dudley and Julia show up, and he offers them some sherry or some sort of drink, and he's talking about what he wants to write about, but he's just at a standstill. He's stuck. And so, Dudley gets him to talk about what he wants to write about and what he's intended to do, but he's gotten stuck. And he goes, well,
and there's a funny thing with the wine.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not done with that yet. And then, Dudley pulls out the coin and he goes, oh, I stole it off of Henry's desk. And he says, I gave him that coin. He says, yes. And then Dudley proceeds to tell the history of the coin, how it relates to Cleopatra and how
and Julius Caesar.
Caesar's wife was mad, and so she had the coins destroyed, and and it inspires the professor. Right. And as he's drinking the wine, the glass fills up, bloop, 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 bloop. And he goes to grab it and pour more, and he's like, oh, And it's just the sweetest scene because he says to the professor, "You will finish this." And he says, "Well, I feel like I'm running out of time.
Yes.
Will I be able to see the success of this?" And he says, "You will."
But
And he
I
goes,
also,
"No, Dudley, I actually believe you."
yeah. And I also love it though that the professor finally opens up about there was a woman that he was in love with
Yeah,
when he was younger, but he
right.
didn't know how to tell
And he
her
didn't
he
have the
loved her.
courage to tell her. And he says he
Yes.
ended up with some, you know,
Hulking
guy that
oaf
wasn't
of an
both
athlete.
of an athlete that wasn't
Yeah,
even fully educated,
right.
because
Yeah.
I was afraid to tell her I loved her. And
But
his
the
regrets
athlete
about that.
knew how to tell her.
But he knew how to tell her, and I
Yeah.
didn't. And that's a lesson to be learned,
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's a really great scene because I like how it's shot too, because you obviously understand the professor doesn't have a lot of money. It's a very small room, and it's shot with just them in, and how they have to move around each other
Hmm.
is very close
Yeah.
quarter.
And
And I think
you
that's an
see an
important
alcove
scene.
kind of room where his bed
Bed
is,
is, yeah, not a
probably
very
the
big thing.
bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably like a little studio of some sort.
And there's just a little tiny alcove maybe for a
A
kitchen.
kitchen. Right, right.
Yeah.
But when they leave, you can tell the professor's spirits have been lifted. And
Hmm.
he feels he's got, the Monty Woolley beautiful smile. And Julia's inspired as well. She doesn't know quite what it is about Dudley, but she really enjoys being in his space.
Yes.
And then, they get in the taxi, and that same taxi driver that they stay with throughout the film, um, Sylvester is his name.
Yes. Oh, and he's played by Gleason's his last name.
Yeah,
What's his first name?
he's really a great actor.
He's
Great character
also
actor.
in Arsenic and Old Lace.
He's an Arsenic No Lace, the taxi driver. No, he's
Yeah.
the police chief. Anyway, so you
James.
know
James
he
Gleason.
James Gleason, yeah. And they're like, "Well, why don't we stop by the skating park?" And
Yeah.
Julian's like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't skated in years. Do you think we could?" And he's like,
I
"Of course
feel
we could.
I feel like it I
I
feel
feel
like it would be so fun, but
I
I
feel
feel
like
like
that'd be so
that's
fun."
wicked.
But she thinks it's wicked to have fun. Exactly. It's like, "Oh my gosh." And Dudley's like, "No, it's not. You gotta have fun." And he's like, "Come on, Sylvester, let's all go." And he's like, "Okay."
Excuse me, dear.
Sure.
Keep cool, Sylvester. Keep cool. Relax. That's right. Come on, come on. There, give me the other one. That's it. All right, now relax. No, don't collapse. Just relax. Hang on to me now. Oh, don't leave me. Don't. Ooh, 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 ooh. How am I doing, Dudley?
And that's a really great scene, because the skating obviously is enormously fun, and Sylvester's kind of klutzy, but Dudley helps him get steady on his feet, and they have a fabulous time. And then they run the little girl, their daughter, the
Debbie.
Henry and Julia's daughter, Debbie, runs into them, and oh, the kids won't play snowball fight with me because they think I can't throw. And um Dudley's like, "Well, we'll show them." And then
Yeah.
their maid shows up, and she's like, "I don't know what happened. My Christmas shopping just
Yeah.
magically happened so fast, so I can take care of Debbie." And she's like,
Yeah.
"Okay." And
Yeah, that's on a
he
different day,
it
but I
is a
love
different
that
day, but
whole
it's a fantastic
it
these
is.
scenes that happen, that
Yes.
Dudley's magical, stuff happens so that she and Dudley can go off and do more things. And
Well, and
of
it's
course,
like bringing light into
it
and
brings
joy
light to Julia,
yeah,
right?
and joy into their lives again.
Well, I mean, because they all feel Henry's restraint, his stress, his
Right.
focus on one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
And then, the times back at the house where she and Dudley talk about where they had been, and Henry's slowly starting to get that he's not there and he's missing out on all of these things.
All these fun things. Yeah.
Right. And he's kind of like, but I've got to get this cathedral done. And there's a few times where he tries to tell people that Dudley's an angel, and there's some sort of thing that happens where he can't say it. And he's like,
I know.
what's going on here? And even Sylvester, the taxi driver, feels alive from spending time with them.
Yes.
And it's just these droplets of joy that matter.
Yes.
That he is spreading.
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting the time when he gets stuck in the chair. All these things have happened. And Dudley's been having fun with Debbie and having fun with Julia. And he feels like he's missing out. But that conversation takes place when he has decided he's just going to give in to her so he can get the cathedral.
Oh, yeah. He'll do anything she wants.
Yeah.
He'll do the likeness of her husband. He'll do any, design, blueprint design, whatever she wants, because he can't raise the money any other way unless she donates it.
Unless she donates
other people.
Right. She's going to donate $1 million. He needs $4 million.
He needs $4 million. And she said, I know the people, she really hints at the fact you won't be able to get all your money if you don't have me.
Right. She's coercing him.
Oh, yeah. She's very manipulative.
And that's the night that he's supposed to meet and listen to the boys' choir. But the thing that's so great is Dudley is trying to help him actually connect with her because she has a backstory of why she is the way she is.
Right. Well, and isn't there's a time where they're going to go back and meet with her, and he wants Julia there, and and he and Julia are on their way, but Dudley gets there first to meet with Mrs. Hamilton.
It's Christmas Eve.
And it's Christmas Eve. And he gets her to open up. She just starts opening up about,
it's the music.
Because he's in her room. He's in the big room, and he opens up this box and he sees this piece of music, and he's like, this isn't the name of her husband. Who's this man? So he sits down at the harp and he starts to play it on the harp, that piece of music. And she walks in and she goes, how do you know that piece of music? Where did you get that from? And so he proceeds to tell her, and then she just tells her whole story that there was this penniless musician that she had fallen deeply in love with. Another story of missed opportunities.
Yes.
And she said, but I was afraid to not have money.
Right.
I was so afraid that I told him no to a marriage proposal so that I could have money.
Right.
And she said, but here I had money, but with no love.
Right.
And so then you realize why she's trying to immortalize this wealthy husband of hers, because she feels guilt.
She never loved him.
Still being in love with, and then she said he died. The musician died penniless. She said, and he died without.
Did he commit suicide?
She didn't necessarily say that. She just said he died penniless.
I can't remember if that.
She didn't. No, I don't think those words were allowed to say back then. But
maybe not. But anyway,
I think that you see the sorrow, because Gladys Cooper is an amazing actress as well.
And also he was a brilliant composer. Brilliant. If he hadn't died, he would have probably been super successful.
Well, I mean, I think she realized at some point in her life, I could have helped him be successful, and I didn't know how to do that.
Yes.
I didn't know how to be the penny, and I don't think they would have been penniless. I think he would have been an amazing composer, but she missed out on that vision.
Well, sometimes we visualize something in the future and we're afraid that that's going to happen. When that's not the way
the future's unknown, right? You create it in your moments.
Yeah.
So that's at that moment that she realizes she's going to change everything and she doesn't
Yeah.
want the cathedral anymore.
So that's
Blah, blah,
when,
blah.
right. So Julia and Henry show up and
Right. And she proceeds to tell him, I've changed my mind.
yes, I want
And
you to direct this money so we can help all these people. And I love that. I love that she asks Henry to direct the money.
she asks Henry to direct the money. And he's like, but everything, and in his mind, the explosion has happened. Everything has fallen apart. And he blames Dudley.
Right. Right. And then he goes to see the professor.
Yeah.
Because he's sure that Julia and Debbie don't love him anymore.
Lost her.
Yes.
He thinks he's lost her and his child because he sees the interactions with
Who knows?
Dudley.
It might bring luck to you both. You know, Henry, it seems strange. I mean, you being a bishop and I a broken-down old scholar, but I feel terribly sorry for you. I wish there was something I could do to help.
Well, thank you, but there's nothing to be done.
But there must be. You and Julia love each other. You always have.
It's only partially true. I love Julia.
Well, then why don't you fight for her?
Fight? How can I fight against...
But you have a tremendous advantage over him.
Advantage? Over an angel?
That's precisely it. He's an angel. Julia is a creature of earth. She's a woman, Henry. And you are a man.
And she loves you.
Yeah.
You forgot that. You forgot all of these things in the midst of your frenzy,
Right.
And it's such a great conversation. It's the thing I love about this movie, and I was telling that to Ariel, is it's not heavy-handed, in your face, super Christian-y or anything. Not that I have a problem with that kind of stuff either. It's just this very gentle story about love and connectedness and how important it is to remember the small moments are what matter.
Right.
And then, when when Henry gets back and he's like, I'm going to fight you for her. Put up your dukes, and he's like, you don't need to do that. He said, the one advantage you do have over me is she does love you. And, I realize I'm kind of jealous of your situation because of what you have with her and Debbie and your family life. He says, but that is not meant for me.
Right.
It's basically, in not so many words, he lets him know you've learned the lesson you need to learn.
Right.
And don't make this mistake again,
Right.
And he says, and when I leave here, you will not remember me and you will not see me again. And he's like, well, where are you going to go? And he goes, well, not in a situation like this again. It will be something.
I'll ask for an assignment on the other side of the universe.
World. Yeah, the other side of the universe. And Henry's kind of like, okay. But Henry also, in the meantime, was supposed to be writing this Christmas Eve sermon. And Dudley goes into the office and completely changes it.
And Miss Castaway's still there typing, and it's Christmas
she's
Eve.
Typing away, and it's Christmas Eve, and Henry's asked her to stay late, and she's like, but I haven't done with my Christmas shopping, and it's Christmas Eve, and he's like, oh well, it'll be okay. Well, Dudley asks her to leave. He goes, go home, go do your shopping, go be with your family. It's Christmas Eve. And she's like, oh, thank you, and it's a really great sermon, how he writes it is so much more, because you could tell what Dudley's reading the previous sermon, like, oh no, that won't do,
And he throws it in
for Christmas Eve.
Throws it in the fireplace.
Yep, throws it in the fireplace. And he leaves, and you can tell that the switch has happened where they kind of don't remember him, and he runs upstairs to Julia, and she's like, what? And she's putting Debbie to sleep, and there's this angel above Debbie's bed, and she goes, did you put that there? And he goes, no, I don't know who put that there. She goes, oh, it's so sweet. And and she's like, hey, we got to get ready for tonight, the service. And he's like, oh yeah, oh, my speech, oh my gosh. And then you see Dudley standing outside the church, you know, with a smile on his face, knowing that everything and all is well.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the beginning of what you see that Dudley had written for the sermon. And, you know, once again, you know, they say in the write-up that is it Episcopalian or something like that, but they
Yeah.
don't really say what that religion really is
Oh,
either.
they never mentioned that.
And
It's just
that, I think that's obviously not the point.
right.
The point is this angel coming in and reminding you of what is the most important things in life.
Right. Now, I was thinking about it. This could have been, it could have taken place any place, any
Oh,
time
yeah.
of the year.
Yeah.
Didn't have to be a Christmas movie. But they made it a Christmas movie, which
Yeah.
I love. I don't know. I
love it too. Well, and I was looking up Henry Koster, the director. He's directed a lot of things that I didn't even know that I love. One of my other favorite movies that Loretta Young is in is called Come to the Stable.
Oh, right.
Where they play the nuns.
Yeah.
And
Elsa Lanchester's in that one too. So she's in this too.
Elsa Lanchester.
Yeah.
Let's just mention her. She's fantastic. Yes. Yeah. Celeste Holm, Elsa Lanchester.
Yeah,
and it's a really, really great
that is a
movie
great story
too. And it's Christmassy and
right.
Spiritual with nuns, but not super heavy-handed either.
Right.
And another one of those quiet reminders like this film. This quiet reminder of, you know, where are your priorities? Where are your feelings?
Yes.
And what are you focusing on?
Yeah. And sometimes
I think it's really about being in the moment.
Yeah, because we get so wrapped up in these are my goals and I gotta make this happen and blah 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 blah. That we forget to stop.
Yep.
Take a breath.
Right.
And like you said, live in the moment. And he does it in such a charming way. And not that David Niven isn't charming, because he is.
Absolutely, he is. I've always loved David Niven. But the tragedy of his private life, I mean, you read about how many actors, like, you know, the filming of Cat on a Hot Tin Roof and Elizabeth Taylor's husband dying
right before they did.
Right before the filming. And they had just had their child together.
Oh.
And, you know,
and
but
he's the one I think he's the one that I think she really, really loved.
Oh, she said, even after all her marriages, she said he's the one I miss the most. He was the love of my life. I always thought I could replace that. And you can't replace that.
Right.
And
well, David Niven, I guess, did, because in this thing that I saw with Ben Mankiewicz, he eventually, some years later, David Niven did marry again, and they were married until he died, I think.
One of them died first. Yeah, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, it was talked about, I heard about, it was probably on TCM because it's the best channel ever. They said that he credits, and so does Elizabeth Taylor, the filming of this was healing for him.
Yeah.
You know, being with this community of people that really cared for him and supported him.
Yes.
You know, they all understood what he had been through, and they were there for him.
Yeah, and he'd worked with Cary Grant before. He'd already worked with Loretta Young before too. Right. So it wasn't like they didn't know each other. They already had a relationship.
Friends. Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing about, you know, some people think it's cold-hearted to get back to work, so to speak. But I also think because you have that community, that is a healing environment when you have people around you that care for you deeply.
Well, and in a way, he could channel some of that grief into his character.
Absolutely.
Because I think
that's
part
therapy. It's therapy.
Yeah, because part of Henry's problem, I think, is that he misses the connections, the personal connections that he had when he was a pastor at the other St. Michael's or whatever it was.
Well,
whatever
and the
church
way
was.
that he's given to become the bishop, to become responsible for this cathedral, I mean, it's like he still has to prove himself.
Yes.
And he's going about it all wrong.
And I love Gladys Cooper's character in the beginning because she's so much like her, like in Now Voyager, the mother in Now Voyager. She's very disdainful, and I think that you should be doing, she's very uppity
and judgy. very
And
judging. She
judgy,
judges him.
yes.
What are you doing that for? You shouldn't be doing that,
Yes,
Absolutely. Right.
yes. And then, but then when she melts down,
Yeah.
she's, oh, thank God.
Well,
Thank
and you
God.
see that really who she's judging is herself
Right. Yep.
because of what she didn't accomplish in her life.
Well, and
Which
that
was
she didn't let love in. I mean,
Right.
the man she married loved her,
I
but
think
for
so, yeah.
some reason
Yeah.
she couldn't get over what she did to Alan, the composer,
Right.
to let the love in. Because
Right.
she could have
Well, and maybe she
fallen
thought
in
she
love.
didn't deserve it. Maybe she thought she just didn't deserve
That
it.
could be true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many
Layers.
magical layers, moments.
Mhm.
It's a gentle film, and it is by far that's I won't miss this one at Christmas. I insist that we watch it.
Yeah.
I've have other ones that if I don't catch it, I don't happen to catch it, that's okay, but this one is not okay for me to miss it.
Yeah, I know. It's like
You
It's a
know?
Wonderful Life. Got to see that every
Right.
year.
I never miss It's a Wonderful Life. And we have our Christmas Eve ones that we watch, and we will never miss those either. A Muppet
Right.
Christmas Carol. Sorry, gotta watch it.
Yeah. Right.
That's
Gotta
my
watch
favorite
that.
Christmas Carol.
I
And then of
know.
course, The Man Who Invented Christmas. We watched that before. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we watched that one. We watched that one for Films for Writers on Prolific Writers
Oh,
Life
fun, yeah.
in November. So
Oh,
we've
fun.
already watched that one, but I would kind of like to watch it again because
Oh, Dan Stevens is magical in that
I
film.
love him. And Christopher Plummer.
I know, it's Scrooge. It's so good. It is so good.
It's good.
It's magical.
Yes.
I love it.
So it's Christmas Day. We know this is airing on Christmas Day, but we hope that you'll go find The Bishop's Wife if you
I hope
can.
so too.
Because I
Please.
think it might be available on like Tubi or some of those free stations.
Or yeah, I think it's available on those places.
Yeah, and it's also available on YouTube. So so go watch it if you can because it is so fabulous.
So good. Classic.
Yes. So thanks for watching. And the next one, first one of the new year, is going to be another Denzel Washington movie, another Criterion Collection movie.
Yes.
Devil in a Blue Dress.
In a Blue Dress. Don Cheadle and Denzel together.
Oh my gosh,
magical and Sparky. It's so good.
Don Cheadle's so great.
Oh, yeah. I love him.
Yeah.
That's when this is the movie I discovered Don Cheadle, and I just
he's so fun.
I have a huge crush on him too.
Yeah. So join us. I think it's the 7th of January for Devil in a Blue Dress.
Okay.
And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next year.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.